We haven't even seen a shit show yet. Start this off by saying, "What up, fools?"
There's this magic moment. Somebody appears on the scene and everything changes.
I am with you. We've never seen anything like this. I will fight for you.
This was a man who's met his destiny.
And I will win for you.
He said he was saved by God in order to make America great again.
His victory was the greatest comeback of all time.
You're watching history, so buckle up.
I don't think the American people have ever seen this before. A government that has moved this quickly and a president that has done so much when it comes to the border and energy and major investments from other countries. It's like warp speed.
47's on a hot streak, bringing head-snapping change to Washington, overwhelming the system with a volcanic eruption of action. Trump has a mandate from the people, and he's using it, and they're just getting started.
President Trump said on the campaign trail, success will be my retribution.
Despite the best efforts of those who would try to censor us, silence us, break us, destroy us, Americans are today a proud, free, sovereign, and independent nation that will always be free.
We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do what I'm doing.
America's back. Common sense is back. He is keeping his promise to you, the American people.
Inflation is down, growth is up.
The numbers don't lie. The economy is soaring.
Lowest gas prices in 4 years.
And record tariff revenue.
The USA is on a roll, culminating in the signing of the One Big Beautiful Bill on July 4th.
The Trump economic golden age is full steam ahead.
America is back, thanks to the courage of President Trump, thanks to the leadership of his amazing cabinet, and thanks, of course, to our brave men and women in the United States military.
This is a message to the rest of the world. The days of ripping off America and Americans are officially over.
Between the attacks on Iran's nuke site and the Maduro operation, the U.S. military recruitment at an all-time high.
This president will go down in history as a peacemaking president.
Peace through strength, America's in charge.
And he's just got one filter, and that is America first.
Whatever they're doing, it's working. Zero illegal crossing, drug cartels frustrated, less crime.
We have the most secure border in the history of this nation. If you think we're doing good now, you just wait till this coming year.
The president isn't taking his foot off the gas in 2026.
It's a new year. The stock markets are already making new record highs.
The Trump archive are a series of near impossible feats.
As for the next year, the American people have so much to look forward to. The president will continue to build off of his historic accomplishments.
2025 is setting the table, but the banquet's going to be in 2026.
This is the golden age coming.
He says, make America great again because every American is invited.
My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future because the golden age of America has only just begun.
Well, well, well. Ah. So, out in LA County, they are doing the elections, and there has been some craziness already in LA. Some of the early voting ballot boxes have had burnt ballots. There have been some council members that have been caught putting bundles of ballots into the drop box. So they're actually getting caught on camera doing this. So it was definitely interesting seeing some of this video. The only thing that really I disagreed with, the one video I seen, they started blocking people's faces out. Nope, put them on Front Street. If you're doing something illegal, especially with the elections, and you need to be put out into the open. So far, they are talking about, or excuse me, they are saying that Spencer Pratt right now is ahead in the polls by 5%. So, if California flips, well, LA County, if that flips, it's definitely going to be very interesting. They had so you have Spencer Pratt, you have Karen Bass, and then you have some other lady that's pretty much needs to be louder. Let me see. Just give me 1 second. Let me look at the mic. All right, that should have gotten rid of the static. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, so I'll get the screen chat up in a minute. So you have this socialist candidate, right? And so somebody decided to, outside of her residence in an affluent neighborhood, decided to put up a makeshift homeless camp. And, you know, people are pointing it to supporters of Spencer Pratt, basically trolling this lady because, you know, these socialists, you know, they're all about these tent cities. Well, this lady. And so they sent up a needle exchange tent, all kinds of stuff, right? Well, she ended up calling the cops over this because she didn't want this in her neighborhood because her children may see it. Oh, but it's okay for everybody else in LA County to have to see it. It's that there in itself is pretty hilarious. I mean, that's like Trump trolling right there. So yeah, she was in the homeless lead. It was so damn funny. I don't know about this whole Netanyahu thing. I mean, after last night, my mind is so, yeah, ramen, yeah. Oh my God, that shit was so funny with her. Let me see here. Okay. Just reading a text neighbor from my neighbor, or yeah, my neighbor. He had another blood transfusion, and so he went out. He felt pretty good, so he took his boat out, went fishing, and now he can barely move. So, oh, it is. I mean, the video is priceless. It's hilarious. I mean, you're in a area of LA County with like multi-million-dollar homes, and they set up a makeshift homeless camp. Not that the homeless camp is funny, but just throwing that in their face is just priceless. And you know, to me, it's showing who these people truly are. They're frauds. They don't care. You know, they're doing it to appease and to make sure that they get that money coming in. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. It's been eerily quiet for the most part. I did hear that there is an arrest warrant. Yeah, I did give him that stuff, and Mom's been kind of walking him through. I never thought I'd see a time where my mother would be so against like vaccines and medications and stuff, especially with her being a doctor. It's pretty wild to see, you know, that stuff. Like some of the even my doctor at the VA, he knows how I am with, a lot of stuff. Just because, him and the black leather couch lady talk, and they know how I feel about a lot of stuff. And I don't know if because of my background, they know what I did in the Navy. They know what I did after the Navy, that they kind of speak a little bit more freely about stuff. So the arrest warrant. So there was a school board member, hardcore Democrat in Wisconsin, that decided it would be advantageous for her to basically do the same thing Jim Comey did and put it on Facebook. Not so much with the seashells, but basically making it known. And, I was told that there are people going, because it's starting to gain a little. Yes, I believe it was Tipton. I believe that was the name that they had told me. I went later on and I looked at it. It's pretty disgusting. When you hold positions like that, there's no sorry. There's no room for that. Yes, Oklahoma, that's what she put. And there are quite a bit of people that are outraged about it. And I'm sure she's going to be removed. And then this other idiot, this nurse, they come out and no way. Oh my land. They're gonna. Wow. Unbelievable. They're gonna allow them to fly the. Wow. I'm telling you, look. We haven't seen shit yet. Nothing. What? Are you serious, Paul? Oh my God. Look, dude, shit's going to get bonkers. That's why. Okay. Wow. That's so nuts. But this nurse, right, who come out and basically wished cancer on Pam Bondi, okay? Well, now she's out there, she got fired. She's no longer working in the health industry as far as I know. I mean, through her post. But now she's out there basically saying, see, the power of prayer works, all this craziness. I mean, You can't make this shit up. You really, really can't. I mean, you could, but nobody would believe you. And, look, I'm telling you, between now and July 4th is going to be nuts. I think before Tulsi Gabbard leaves, is going it better get nuts. Or somebody has a lot of fucking explaining to do. And I believe she is going to chuck the biggest grenade that we have seen yet. And you're starting to see some of these old videos that are starting to pop up again where, 46 talks about we have the most extensive fraud campaign for the Big E's, and it's going to be interesting. Now, I have heard, like I said, this is just what I have been told. I can't verify it. But hold on, I gotta calm her down. Holy balls. She hates. Relax. Hey, relax. She hates the mailman. Absolutely despises. Relax, buddy. She is just like squirming. She wants to go eat this person so bad. Oh my. Yeah, she's not a Pomeranian Dachshund. She's a miniature Aussie Doodle. Yeah, she's a hot mess, is what she is. But yeah, she hates the mailman. Oh my lord. Yeah, I see a lot of comments about last night. We'll get into that. But yeah, they're and how about designer mud? Oh, she's met the mailman. She is not impressed. My neighbor's dog, my illegals, they're not really illegals, but that's what I call them. Every once in a while I'll walk over. I made a couple ICE deportation shirts just for when I go over there. And their dog, which is Panda's boyfriend, if he's out, good night nurse. That little joker chases the mailman all the way up the street. When I hear her, I gotta look to see if he's out there, because if so, I'll bring him into the house so, the damn little dog don't get doused with like pepper spray or something along those lines. But yeah, so I see a lot of these artists are now pulling out of the 250th anniversary. People were, and people were bitching about the UFC ring at the White House. I agree. Okay? I don't believe that should be going on at the White House grounds. Just like I didn't believe that the whole LGBTQ women walking around the front lawn with no shirts on, during whatever hell day they had. And it's disgusting. It's beneath our country. And in a sense, I believe it's the same with this UFC ring. I don't know who is advising the president on this, or if he just decided to make the choice himself, but I don't agree with it. I really don't. It makes us look like idiots on the world stage. Yeah, free the Tatas. That was just such a shit show. And, I see a lot of people that are saying, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, you're a hypocrite because you were out there bitching about all the gay pride flags and shit on the White House lawn. So, it's something else. We got more important issues to worry about than all of that, and if they'd have done it on the National Mall or somewhere else, I still wouldn't have been happy with it, but I think I think I can let her down now. I think I'd have been a little bit more, I don't know, acceptance of it, but yeah, it's definitely a shit show on that aspect. I just hope after the July 4th celebration, we start seeing a lot of motion. A lot of motion. We better start seeing a lot of motion. And I believe there is. We're seeing stuff happen. It's going to get dicey. And, I think a lot of you guys remember me saying on numerous number of shows that after Trump won in 2024, that if people don't start seeing arrest within the first 6 months to a year, I was off by 6 months, you are going to see people flip and people turn on Trump, on certain people who are trying to, I don't know, basically calm people down, try to get them to think more level-headed. Because I think for as long as from back at Prepping 101 to the Frog, I've been telling people numerous number of times. If what I believe is being prepared for, if some of the special projects I worked on at Jetpack, if that is what is in motion, there are going to be people sitting in the corner rocking back and forth. They are not going to be able to handle a lot of stuff. One, there are going to be people that aren't going to be able to accept that they've been lied to. There's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to be able to accept that certain things were going on right under their noses. It's going to get, and I don't even believe we are a fourth of the way of the fire hose. I don't believe we are. And now granted, I wasn't alive during the Great Depression. But, talking to my, my great-grandmother, she lived next door to us. She lived to be 103, I believe. And I spent damn near every day over there. And I was so fascinated by that era in time. And she had told me then, you better be thankful that my generation went through that and not your generation, because you guys would be screwed. And I agree with her. I 100% agree with her. Now, I'm not saying everybody. People don't know how to sacrifice. I don't believe they do. I have friends. I guess you could say, some employees that are bitching about gas prices. I totally get it. Bitching about cost of groceries. I totally get it. Everyday expenses are through the roof. Yet, I see you walking around with a Starbucks cup that you probably spent $7, $8, $9 for. I see you walking around with a McDonald's bag. Or, Five Guys. I don't think you can walk out of Five Guys under $20. Even though I don't have that worry, okay? I don't live like I have. I don't go to Starbucks. I don't go to McDonald's. Number one, very, very, very very rarely do I eat fast food. I'd rather, you know, shit. I go to places like Aldi's for groceries. Hell, a lot of times that stuff tastes better anyways. I'd rather eat at home. Number one, I don't like crowds. I get very, very unsettled around crowds. And it's just, I don't say it's PTSD or anything like that. It's just, to me, it is what it is. You know, just the experiences that, you know, being in the Navy, doing shit there that most people would be very unwilling to do. Working at some of the agencies that I've worked at, been some of the countries that I've been to. I mean, just like you go to Yemen and all you do, your head's on a swivel 24/7 because you're waiting for somebody to take a pot shot at you, right? It's crazy, and I believe it's going to get a lot worse, and there are going to be more and more people that either can't see the forest for the trees or choose not to see the forest for the trees. You know, like I was telling you guys a few days ago, my neighbor, the one who has the construction company, you know, he was telling me that just for his vehicle and the 3 other vehicles that they use on a daily basis for the business, it's costing him $500 a day in fuel. Where before it was roughly $220, $230. And my biggest issue with that is the messaging coming out of the White House. If you're going to have the messaging saying we have more oil than we know what to do with, we are overflowed with oil, then you have to have somebody coming out with the messaging, if that is the case. And we'll just take, for right now, we'll just take people at their word, right? That you have to have somebody coming out with the messaging that, A, the reason gas prices are where they're at, is it because of manipulation? Is it because of greed? We're going to find out. You know, and I wish somebody would literally come out and say, somebody that's a good messenger in the White House, that I like Trump, but sometimes I get tired of the campaign speeches on everything. I get tired of hearing the cabinet say, thank you for your great leadership, right? I get it. But to me, I don't know if they're, and I've asked somebody who's extremely close to that administration. Why is that? Who in the sleazeball hell is telling them to do this? What is the play with this? Is it him? And I was told it's not him. I think there's definitely an inner circle of people he listens to, and one of them is the person I'm referring to. He's probably one of very few people that if he says something, he listens. And when he accepted the position that he received, he had told me that was the very first thing that he told him. You have to let me do my job. If you do not listen to me and don't allow me to do my job, then I'm out. End of discussion. I'm a ghost. And I will go back working at a desk. I have no truck doing it. And he is very, if you think I'm pretty much straightforward, when I'm not like fucking around, he is more straight edge than I am. He is more by the book than I am. And, we had the same career path. And if I wasn't, and this isn't an excuse, but if I wasn't dealt the cards that I was dealt in the Navy, if I was the fourth guy instead of the third guy, I might have been all right. But I don't use that as a crutch. You have some podcasters that have served their country that use those kind of things as a crutch to explain why they're assholes. Okay? When I was forced to retire, dude, I thought the world was coming to an end. I was beyond a dark place. Beyond. And just because everything that I had done and everything that I achieved to me was like gone in an instant, right? That it was done. There was no pulling back from it. And there was zero that could be done about it. And I knew this. And, after talking with people that know how to deal with that, for the longest time during that period, when I knew I was sick, I knew there was something wrong. And the 1 year, I believe it was 2010, I had either been to the doctor's or to the emergency room that year 100, I think it was like 108, 109 times. That's how That's how bad it was. I mean, I was to the point where I thought I was a hypochondriac, where I kept going to the hospital and saying, look, I know there's something fucking wrong. You guys got to figure it out. I went to every damn specialist that you could imagine. And, you know, my mother had flown my sister and her 2 kids up here because my mom couldn't even take care of me. That's how fucking bent out of shape I was. And so she figured, oh, let me bring in your ball-busting sister. And it worked. I mean, it kind of snapped me out of it and that. And there was a night that the squad, fire rescue, came to the house because I knew there was something really bad happening, heart-wise. And, you know, they come in and took me down to the emergency room, brought me in, EKG, you name it, MRIs, CAT scans, through the roof. And so finally, this German lady comes in, this German doctor, and I'm telling her what's going on. She goes, you've been in here quite a bit. And I said, yep. And I said, my cardiologist had told me July 24th. Oh, that's you know, and I told her, I said, you know, my cardiologist and my internal medicine, which at that time was Dr. Wang, you know, had told me, I don't give a shit if you go to the hospital every hour. If you know, you're the only one that basically knows you. So if you think there's something wrong, you come in and you get it figured out. And so she locked me in for like 2 days, and I think it was the second or third night that you know, in the middle of the night, all of a sudden I wake up and there's all these fucking people around me. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? You know, why'd you guys wake me up? And the nurse that's she's like, no, she goes, your blood pressure like dropped dangerously low. And I don't know what they hit. I don't know if it was adrenaline or whatever the hell. But when they did it, I was like, holy shit, I'm awake now. You know, I was higher than a damn kite. And that, you know, that's when they caught the issue with the heart, which now, you know, 30 years later, we're able to trace back to, one, a place where I worked, and two, one of the ops that I was involved in. So now it's going to be, and I never wanted disability benefits from the military. I knew I knew when I was checking out at PSD, when the admin told me that basically I had free medical, no copay, free eye, no the only thing I didn't get was dental. I knew because, I had already taken a trip on a helicopter from Eva Beach to Triple Army Hospital because I had come back from, me and 3 other guys came back from doing a 15-mile run. I get back to my room at Eva Beach, go in and take a shower, and about a half hour later, I can't feel my right arm. And, I called the base fire department like, yeah, I got a problem. And whatever they seen, they're like, yeah, we're not transporting you, we're flying you. Just because you have to understand the layout of the island. If you're looking at the island where Pearl Harbor's at the bottom, okay, you're looking north. So west is Eva Beach. Northeast is Tripler Army Hospital because the island goes in like a U, an upside down U, as you're looking north. So you have to go all the way up the island and partially the way down in order to get to Tripler Army Hospital. So they did a medevac out of Schofield Barracks. So, it was like maybe a 5-minute ride. And, yes, the Pink Hospital. Yep. Yeah. And my sister worked there. So we were in Hawaii at the same time. My sister was a trauma nurse. And I forget who was born there that they painted the hospital pink. I'm not sure if it was a Kennedy or who, but I know once there's a story to it. But yeah, it's the big pink building on the hill. Yep, it's huge. Tripler is so damn big. And so when I got into Tripler, they started running all these tests, and they're like, I don't feel like we can't find anything. And they basically patted me on my ass, gave me the military cure-all, which is Motrin 800, set me on my way. Of course, Obama. Obama was born there. That's awesome. So yeah, they just couldn't find anything. And when they did find the issue, it was just like dumb luck that when I, in 2010 when they caught it, because it was something that, when I guess I was in an arresting state sleeping, that the heart valve would collapse. And that's how they caught it, because they had, look, I looked like fucking C3PO on crack with all the wires that they had on me. I mean, they threw everything that they could think of. And I don't know if it was because they were tired of dealing with me or if they, really wanted to figure out what the issue was. But so I guess we'll get into the other stuff. So yeah, probably about 6, 7 o'clock. I got last night. I started getting a lot of phone calls from what they call the language line, and I'm registered with the language line, and the language line is kind of, they're subsidized. It's a law enforcement, not really a law enforcement arm, but it's a law enforcement utility that is used. The federal government helps support it. Counties, agencies help support it, and basically what it is, it's a call center for law enforcement in the court systems. And even like what do they call them? It used to be like the welfare, but they call it like job and family services. Where if they get somebody in that, needs benefits, like right after when we were taking in people, I believe it was from Iraq, who were on Uday and Qusay's hit list. And we were bringing them into the country. And in order to help them get established, they had put them on benefits, which, in a way, as long as all of our people are taken care of first, then, and if there's any meat left on the bone, then I have no problem helping other people out. But if our people are struggling, then you got to wait in line like everybody else. So this language line, if let's say law enforcement, TSA, whoever, has somebody that literally can't comprehend English, does not comprehend it, or if they act like they can't comprehend English, what happens is they are they'll call dispatch and say, hey, can we get a language line? And so the dispatch will call the call center number, and then they basically match up people that are registered and paid by language line to translate for law enforcement. So I was doing a lot of that for State Highway Patrol for some reason last night. And so I didn't see the text from LWN if I wanted to come on the show. And, I was busy doing some other stuff, and then my cell phone started to blow up. And, I'm not the type of person that has to be attached to my cell phone. I hate them. A lot of times I have that shit on my main number I have on like vibrate or mute, and I have another cell phone that, in case of emergency, break the glass type thing. So I had missed, and they're linked together. But for the most part, I don't really pay attention to cell phones. I grew up without having a cell phone. I grew up in the era where you had a pay phone. My grandparents, I can remember when I was a little kid, you had to go through an operator to get connected to another house. I mean, that's how far we've come from the late 70s, early 80s. But I got, I don't know, like 11, 12 o'clock, I got a call from somebody saying, basically, what the hee-haw hell? And I was like, oh God, what? And, yeah, I remember the party lines. Yep. Yeah, you get like 8, 9 people in there. Yep, sure do. Yeah, that's wild. Wish you'd answer my PMs. Oh. Yeah, I'm horrible with that. I'll have to give you my direct number, sissy. Oh, you instigated the 11 o'clock call? Nice. So, somebody had said, hey, you gotta go check this out. And I was like, why? What's wrong? And they're like, well, the rails are off. And I was like, oh, shit. And look, I'll preface all this by saying, one, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Two, I don't force my opinion on anybody. And three, patience is a virtue. And I knew that this was brewing. And there's nothing wrong with it. I have no problem with what happened. Their discussion. None whatsoever. They brought up a couple valid points, and I get it. I 100% get it. I have looked at both sides. And the conversation that I had with somebody late last night, I was like, look, dude, I have looked at the fact that, is it possible that Trump's a Trojan horse? And if you don't look at it like that, then you're not thinking objectively. Because I've thought that angle. I have often wondered, is this the psyop? The devil that you don't know. And I have ran that through my head so many times. Is this, are we getting duped? And eventually we'll know, right? We will know if we're being duped. There is no doubt we will know. On the other hand, definitely the one person that I know that it's who is close to the administration, somebody I worked with on some of these projects that we were working on at JITPAC and at NSA. And I believe, and I can't confirm it, I know what's coming next. And that's why I've told people that if, and I've told my family members, if what I think is coming next, it's going to absolutely blow people's minds. People are not going, they're already at a point to where I believe they're at a jumping off point. That they are somewhat to a point to where they are not going, and you guys are going to start seeing a lot of alerts pop up. I didn't restart the Lumia, but when this, and like I said, look, I will be the first one that if none of this happens, if none of this is true, I'll be one of the first ones that come up here and said, holy shit balls, am I a dumbass? Because I got duped along with the rest of you guys. And I know there's some people that come in here that don't believe any of this shit. And I get it. It seems so far-fetched that any of this is possible. Any of it. And but the people who, and this ain't pointing anybody out. This has nothing to do with Mike. And like I said, I like Mike. I think Mike's a good dude, but I think he's tired. And I get it. I truly get it. I think once you get to a point, like he said last night, where it gets people in your circle are having to make choices. Do I pay the electric bill or do I buy groceries? Do I pay the gas bill or do I get medications, right? I totally get that. And when you see people in your orbit that are having to make those decisions, it's daunting. And then this is where it goes back to, I wish whoever was doing the messaging at the White House would come up with a better way of doing the messaging, because on one hand you're hearing the White House saying, you know, we have so much oil. We got so much money coming into the country. We have this, we have that. But no one's seeing it, right? I wish somebody would come out, if there is something on the horizon, that somebody would come out and say, look, we are going to go through a rough patch. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. You know, look, there are, what I believe, there are phases to this thing. You know, I was explaining to Trainwreck. I said, look, when they were going after Pablo Escobar, the DEA, FBI, Delta, when they were looking, CIA, when they were looking for him, here, let's do something better. When they were looking for bin Laden, okay, they started looking for anomalies, right? And it came down to the lady at the CIA who, in a way, sounds like a female version of me. When I was working in that realm, I couldn't let shit go. And when I was working at the other agencies, I couldn't let shit lay. You know, once I was given a target or given a certain AOR area responsibility, I beat the shit out of that area. If I wasn't listening to somebody, I was doing what they call turning and burning. Meaning I was going through every fucking frequency in that area AOR. Listening constantly. And then, you know, there'd be people, whether it was military or civilian contractors or NSA employees, that when their target wasn't there, headphones were off and they were bullshitting. That wasn't me. Because I was more intrigued by what I can find, right? And I got numerous accolades just for the simple fact is I found a lot of shit that nobody else found. And it wasn't because I was any better than any of those people. It was because I had interest in it. I loved doing it. And so, you know, I got a lot of appointment letters from NSA. That's probably one of the biggest reasons why I ended up where I was at with Admiral Blair. And to me, I didn't want anything for it. To me, it was to me, it was just absolutely fucking interesting that I could sit in one part of the world and there's something else on the other side of the world, and I know what the hell you're saying, and you don't know it. And, you know, the very first big catch that I got, you find out real quick who your haters were. Real quick. Because there were some pissed off people. Not that they were looking for it. And like I said, I came across it by dumb luck. And but I was dedicated to it. And when I got it, there were some pissed off people because I was getting a lot of unwanted attention. I mean, there were guys that were flying in from the mainland wanting to know how I got this. And it's like, look, all I did was my fucking JQR. Sat at my damn paws, had my headphones on, turning and burning. That's how I found it. And you guys, if you think I'm blunt, the big chair's even more blunt than I am. That's why him and I get along so well. He's dumb as shit. I mean, I can tell you this. When my sister was getting married, I was already out of the Navy. And I flew myself and my mom and her twin sister, my aunt, over to Hawaii so we could be there for the wedding. And Big Chair picked us up at the airport. And he had already pulled a 24-hour shift. So we're driving from the airport over to the Ala Moana Hotel, the military hotel in downtown Honolulu. It's like a 5-star fucking joint. The place is unbelievable. And he's falling asleep at the lights in Honolulu. And my aunt is like smacking him. Wake up, stupid. What's he do? He puts the car in park, gets out of the car in the middle of the fucking road and starts doing push-ups. That's him. He's like borderline whack job. But he is. I mean, when we got busted at Admiral Knitsky's house at that party, that shit was hilarious. I mean, he's just up there like talking to 3-star admirals and generals like they're his cousins. It was just so stupid, but that's him. And it is we are in for what this puppy. I think hold on 1 second, guys. All right. She just heard something outside. Probably a damn deer. So those things you know when you worked in this realm, you see things a lot different. All right. And I just want to make this abundantly clear. Anything that I talk about, it's not a slight on anything that transpired last night. People are entitled to their opinions. And Mike and I have had this conversation. And I 100% totally get where he's coming from. I do. And I get the frustration. I don't know the other gentleman as well. But there are too many things that are in the open that point me, and I'm just speaking for myself, point me to believe there is something very, very, very big coming. Very big. We are into riot season. We're starting to see it in New Jersey. Some of the Democratic people that are in New Jersey found out that their governor fed them a load of shit. And they're pissed. And what I mean by the governor fed them a load of shit is they... Oh, 1 second. Okay. They were told that they would have free speech zones during this peaceful protest. And when they set these up, then the governor called in the State Highway Patrol. And they were all shocked. Well, you weren't very peaceful. When you get up in a cop's face when you're behind a barricade and you put your middle finger in their face, to me, that's not peaceful. And it's, to me, that's, yeah, it's kind of freedom of speech, but there's no need for it. Zero. And because at the end of the day, I would say 99% of those people that are standing out there do not give one fucking iota about anybody in that place. And this is just one city. Just wait. Just wait until what I believe is coming down the pipeline is after this grenade that I believe is going to get thrown by the end of the month. It's going to get real dicey. Now, yeah, I get it, Kathy. But, you know, for me, and this is just me, I like watching that kind of stuff. Because it gives me, one, it allows me to reinforce myself that I'm not a fucking idiot. Because you got stupid people doing this. But two, I like looking at, one, the hypocrisy, and two, I think we're going to see all this again. And you are, just like with some of the podcasters, vloggers, whatever you want to call them, they are starting to show their true colors. You know, there was a guy that was grifting off of the Ukraine. And I'm trying to figure out why he still isn't grifting off of it. And now, and I don't even like using that word, grifting. I mean, I believe that, you know, if you're doing what you like to do, you deserve, if possible, you know, people compensate you. There's nothing wrong with that. There isn't. But there are individuals, one, hide behind their military service. And what I mean by that is you use that as a card that what you're doing is correct. Like I've said numerous times, I've served with a lot of great people. A lot of people I still contact with. We still laugh about shit. But there are a lot of shitbags because it's all walks of life. You know, there was a guy when I was going through boot camp. He thought he was country till he met some dude from the backwater of Louisiana. And he's like, man, I'm not, this dude is fucking country, right? And I guess for the normal, and I don't want to say that, you know, Mike's normal. Mike's not normal. Mike gets it. Mike understands it. Mike's reported this stuff for years. Has his ups and downs, peaks and troughs. I have too. I thought all of this was going to be done way before this. You know, and here's how I'll try to set this up before we start getting into other items. Put yourself in the position of Donald Trump. You're a multi-millionaire / billionaire. You run for president for your first term. And you could say, A, he's doing it for ego. B, he's doing it to expand his wealth. Or C, he loves his country. Or D, somebody asked him. Okay? Number one, if I'm a multimillionaire or billionaire, yeah, you always ask a question. If I'm a multi-billionaire, why the fuck would I want to run for president? Okay, Because if I'm a multimillionaire, billionaire, I probably already have a fucking ego. And maybe I'm just psychologically unbalanced. And I need to feed my ego more. That's a possibility. Okay? But he already has a huge ego. He always has. But that was all right. It was all right when he was a Democrat. Or he supported Democrats. Or he supported Republicans. Because in his line of work at that time, that's how you got things done. You needed a permit pulled faster? Okay. You're telling me that if this project is going to take me 6 months to get the approval? Okay. How about I donate $100,000 to your campaign and you make it happen quicker so I can meet my deadline, so I can make sure I make money and I can make sure the guys that work for me make money. Okay? So you make a lot of friends that way with money. Money's the root of all evil. So when you become president, now I'm just naturally not speaking from experience. I'm speaking from what I have observed by being on the outer ring of that realm. You give up a lot of fucking freedoms when you become president. You can't just walk anywhere anymore. You can't just jump in a car and go wherever you want. That ship has sailed. So, what does $200 million buy? I don't know. Ask Vladimir Zelensky. So that's the first thing. I wouldn't want to give up my freedom like that. And then you have the whole country politically, is against you. Because I believe, because of, his stature, meaning wealth, and of all the deals that he's done, all the money he's paid to get deals done, where a lot of fucking bodies are buried. You know how things are allegedly done. And if you're a politician, that scares you. If you're a crooked politician, that scares you. And I think everybody in that hemisphere is a little bit crooked. It's just a matter of what level of, let's see if this is even a word, crooksicity. So you have that. Everybody's against you. Now I'm bringing my family. Somebody said popcorn's questions above. Give me 1 second. Is it Is it true that the uranium dust in Iran tested and has links to the uranium one stuff through Russia? Hillary and Obama. Yes, I have heard. And look, I'll answer this just because I can't say for certain, but what I do is I take pieces of a puzzle that I've either found or been given, and I try to formulate a picture. And I got those traits by graphic analysis. It's a subject in a school that I went to. We have Vance doing negotiations in Pakistan. And I thought it was weird, something of that magnitude, why wouldn't Donald Trump go? Nobody speaks for Donald Trump better than Donald Trump. You go there and you send Vance. You're number 2, who can fully negotiate upon the interest of the American people because he was elected. And the President of the United States, on the surface, has confidence in that person that he is going to fulfill the wishes of the president and do as the president instructs. Negotiations flop. Vance and them get ready to leave. And right before Vance and them leave, roughly an hour, one of the biggest cargo planes leave Pakistan and head in a flight path which later we found out to be Germany. And we did that through flight tracking, running the tail numbers, find out where it took off from, which was Lahore, and where it landed, which was, it wasn't Ramstein, in Germany. And then you have Air Force 2 in the follow-on plane and a refueler flying that same flight path. Now, there's no need for a refueler for Air Force 2 or the follow-on plane because you have enough allied countries there that we have a footprint where if you need to refuel, you just land and refuel. But that plane has enough capacity to fly to where they need to go. So that tells me they probably had fighter escorts. Okay? Which a lot of people would probably, yeah, that's reasonable assumption because of the regions that they're flying in. And you have, I'm assuming, fighter jets escorting that Aleutian cargo aircraft. And the reason I say that because I don't believe, one, the U.S. Air Force, and two, the U.S. Secret Service will allow that plane to be that close to Air Force 2. And since that plane took off first, they'd have to file a flight path. So wouldn't the easiest resolution be, we're going to change our flight path? Or ask that control tower, ask them to amend their flight path because we're a high priority traffic. Okay? So the next thing, neither one of those two things happened. They followed the exact same flight path. Now, some people say, well, maybe that's the flight path that's for that area. We keep everybody in that same flight path. Okay. What are the odds of that Aleutian plane landing in Germany and those two SAM flights, the one SAM flight and the other one, which actually flew with SAM but was Air Force 2? What are the odds? The odds go extremely down that they're going to the same place. All right, so what that tells me is there's probably something in that fucking plane that we got or we need, right? So that's why I reached out to Monkey saying, hey, this is what I found. What do you think? Because I'm just trying, here's what I think. And I think it's plausible. And I didn't tell him that at first because I actually wanted I wanted to get his assessment without the interference of mine. And he had basically said, well, it was probably comms equipment or presidential vehicles. And so my response was, look, we have Air Mobility Command. I don't see the Secret Service or the U.S. Air Force allowing our shit to be in a foreign nation's who is known to flip the script on us vis-a-vis harboring bin Laden. I can't see a scenario where they would allow that to happen. So, okay, what's the next possibility? Well, you start looking at the negotiations. What would be so big, so heavy, that they would need a fucking Aleutian? Because these things are ginormous. I've only seen one, and that's when I was flying into Menwith Hill Station. And those things are monsters. It's like taking a charter plane that goes from like small airport to small airport. Comparing that plane to an Aleutian is like comparing a large sailboat to an aircraft carrier. That's the way I look at that comparison. It's huge. So what would be in it? Could it be troops? Maybe. Doubt it. Not our troops. Why would the Pakistani send troops to Germany? That doesn't make any sense. So then I put on the table, maybe we got what we went there after. And the Pakistanis facilitated it. Because maybe the Secretary of Defense, General Kane, the President of the United States was delivered a message through J.D. Vance saying, look, fuckers, if you do not turn this over, we're going to turn you into a glass factory. And I think that's why you had the Crown Prince, allegedly, none of us were on the phone call, allegedly talked to Trump. The Crown Prince working something, saying, hey, mullahs, IRGC, you need to turn this shit over. Because if not, they're going to raise holy hell on you. And the Israelis, you know how the Israelis had those pagers? Or do you remember the Olympics? When Sierra McCall and Mossad, it took them years to track these fucking people down, and they got them. That's going to be you. So you need to cough it up, or you're gone. Pack your bags. Get your horses and your camels, because you're going to meet these virgins if you do not comply. This guy's not messing around. Look at what he did in Venezuela. And I think they complied. It's just my personal belief based on what I'm seeing. And then you have this plane land in Germany. That plane hasn't, I haven't found it. I didn't see it leaving Germany. So then within, I think it was a few days after that plane landed in Germany, all of a sudden the chancellor wants our military out of Germany. Get all your troops out. Get them out. We don't want you here. Well, what would make such a drastic change that Germany doesn't want us there? Because just look at the rhetoric coming out of Europe. Look at the rhetoric coming out of NATO. Vladimir Putin's going to go into the Baltics. I don't know if he is or not. Vladimir Putin's going to pull into Europe. I don't know if he is or isn't. There's enough circumstantial evidence to say he may try to. But or is there something else? So, why would Germany want the most powerful military in the world to leave their nation if Vladimir Putin is going to be on their doorstep? Something had to have happened. Something major. And I think what that major thing was is that, hold on one second. All right. So something had to happen that pissed off the Germans. So maybe, and this is just hypothetical, maybe it was because we didn't tell the Germans. And the Germans got pissed because we brought all this powder, allegedly, into their country on a Pakistani airline, didn't inform them. We landed the fighter jets, Air Force Two, and the follow-on plane in their country, on their soil, and we didn't notify them. And my guess is we didn't notify them because maybe they were implicated in some of this. Because remember, allegedly, Germany was involved in the 2020. Allegedly, Gina Haspel was working out of Germany when all this went down. And I think that once they realized that we were coming in, they probably told them no. And either it was a direct call from Trump or from one of our ambassadors saying, you want to fuck around and find out? Or let me see. I'm just are we still connected? Okay. I just seen somebody say, and I heard a beep on my end, so I wanted to make sure we're still live. So Germany gets pissed because maybe they're implicated in all of this. And what would be the reasoning for us to get all that dust out of there? Now, this is just me spitballing. I have no concrete evidence of this. I've asked people, and if they could tell me, they wouldn't tell me. Why would we want this back in the United States? Well, first logical answer would be we'd want it so it doesn't fall into dirty hands, right? That's option one. Option two, we want to find out who was supplying them the ability to make it. So maybe Treasury could sanction them. Because look at all the money that cost the American taxpayers. monkey traced a flight from Germany that night to Cuba. Interesting. And the reason I say that's interesting is because I sent him an email shortly after. Well, I've already explained that I've done that. So he probably started tracking shit. I'll have touch base with him. So, Treasury could sanction that country. Why are you giving a Islamic radical state the ability to make a nuclear weapon? Or, and this is what I think happened, we had a team of special forces that was in Iran hunting this shit down. Guys who are very specialized in a multitude of areas. Guys who have PhDs in nuclear science, nuclear fission, mathematics, that are tier 1 assets that make special forces look like kindergarten. And I'm serious about that. It's a different fucking level. Tier 1 is a totally different orbit. I mean, number one, it's hard as shit to get into that community. You have to have the right mindset. You have to have the ability to not quit. I mean, if you look at most special forces, they are 5'6" to 5'10". Most. They are slender build. You do have guys that are muscular as shit. But the biggest thing is they don't quit. Okay? So you get through that hard process. And then you decide after 6-10 years you want to go to a tier 1. That's a whole different other ball game. A whole different other ball game. And then within that ball game, you have guys from each special ops group within JSOC that want to go to a particular tier 1 that it's hardly ever talked about. Where they got their notoriety is during the hijacking. And they call that Delta. You have Marine Force Recon. You have guys from DevGru that go to this, because even though you have SEAL Team 6, right? And I'm biased to Navy, these guys are even stupider. Okay? They look, I know for a fact, because when I was out in Fort Huachuca, Arizona, and we were doing testing on backpack drones, and we were doing all the crypto and shit for the backpack drones, they were all Delta. So they get the first cut of that shit because they are more utilized. They're so crazily specified in certain realms. Beyond ridiculous. And you could walk by an operator. I mean, just look at Dick Marcinko. I mean, granted, he's old as hell now. But you would have never guessed that that guy was tier 1. Never. And so I believe they sent in that group of people to do soil testing. They probably had assets on the ground already in other 3-letter agencies that had soil samples ready. They sent these guys in to pull out that stuff, bring it back to the States, probably in Fort Detrick, Maryland, do some testing to see if the soil samples equate to something being around there. Once that testing come back, then they probably sent in the same bunch of guys to go find it. And then once they located it, okay, we got it. Now we're going to formulate a plan to go in and get it. And that's why I think there was all that posturing going on, Straits of Hormuz, why you had all the news media talking about how many ships we're sending in, how many ships are there. Holy shit, look at this buildup. Because now we got this distraction here. Why we got tier 1 guys in country looking for this shit. We're having all the Iranians down here, and we're going to sweep in and get this shit. The main thing, I believe, and this is just all theoretical, this goes back to Venezuela. And you're like, Venezuela? What the fuck does Venezuela and Iran have to do anything with nuclear dust? Well, I told you guys when that raid happened, I think Maduro wanted us to get him out of there. I think Maduro was in fear for his own damn life by the same people that we believe that have tried to overthrow our government. Or possibly did overthrow our government. We just don't know it yet. And I believe Maduro thought that, holy shit, they're going to come for me. Because I know more than I should know for me to be alive. So they're probably going to come get me. Just like I think the same thing about Jim Comey. I think Jim Comey knew he knew too much. And they were worried he was going to sing. So I'm going to put 4 numbers in the fucking sand, basically saying, please come get me. So I think when they extradited Maduro and put him on a Navy vessel in international waters, Maduro sung like a champ. It's been nice knowing me. It's gonna be burlap sack country for me. So I think Maduro sung. They gave him options. And I think Maduro knew too much. Because if Maduro was involved in any shape, form, or fashion in the attempted coup of the U.S. government, don't you think he probably knew how Iran may have gotten that dust? Because the United States probably already knew, but they needed someone to give some proof. And maybe he had that proof. And maybe in order for him to get a better deal, here, our intelligence services in Venezuela intercepted this traffic. And here's your answer that you're looking for. Now, how about that letter from your president? And the response was, if this pans out, you'll probably get something from the president. If it doesn't pan out, the President of the United States wrote an executive order for firing squads. And maybe that goes for your family as well. So, you better hope this is right. And so, my thought process, maybe they brought a sample of that back to Fort Detrick. Did a test. Found out, through elements or however they test it. I'm not even going to act like I know how they test it. I have no fucking clue. And they find out that some of the elements or signatures of this shit came from us. Well, shit. How did our stuff get from here to there? Oh, wait. Did somebody in our government give that to them? Sell it to them? So now let's start, looking at isotopes. Or whatever they're looking at. Break it down. Because if this is the case, we're going to have to be able to prove this shit. And we're going to have way beyond a reasonable doubt. We need to check, double check, send this to like 4 or 5 different labs. Everybody has to come back with the same results. Can't tell them where it's from. Can't tell them how we got it. But we need the same damn results. So they run the test. Maybe tests come back negative. Okay, well, shit. That sucks. Or maybe the tests come back positive. All 4 of them. All 5 of them. How many ever they sent out. Now what do we do? Well, we notify the president. All these secret meetings that have been going on. Well, not so secret, I guess you could say. Because I think they're intentionally putting out. The president is in the Situation Room with the military commanders. The president's meeting with this people. The president's meeting with these people. Oh, shit. Right? That's my thoughts. Nothing to prove it. We're going to go to Camp David. Oh, shit. We can't go to Camp David. There's a storm coming in. But you look at the weather and there's no storm. But you mean our helicopter can't fly through rain? Thought we were the most powerful nation in the world. So, say it all comes back. It's all positive. We know it came from us. We probably know where it came from us. Now we have to send out agents to where this was stored. Now we have to get judges to start signing warrants based on national security. So when we find this judge probably doesn't have a security clearance. So you have to have CISA or DERNZA or DONCAF. We got to do a SSBI on this guy real quick. We got to run, normally, a top secret SCI TK security clearance on a good day takes 6 months. That's on a good day. We got to rush this shit. So now you got to read this judge on. You have to explain to the judge how you got it. How did you come about getting it? How did you know it was there? How did you get it back to the country? How did you test it? All of this shit. He has to be read on in order for him to basically sign his name on a warrant. This takes time. Plus, you have to have all these agents, all these investigators. Okay? This is the time frame that we know that this material was exchanged for whatever. Now we have to find out who all knew about it. Is it just somebody at state? Is it somebody at the Department of Energy? Is it one of the 3-letter agencies? Or does it go all the way to the fucking top? That's what we got to find out. We got to find out every damn person involved in this. Because when we take this to a grand jury, if that's the route they went, are going to, hypothetically, we have, and forget about the security clearance for the judge. You now also have to get a security clearance for every one of those fucking jury members. Every one of them. And let's say you get a pool of 20 people. And you start going through and doing these security clearances. And you need, I don't know, 13 members. Let's say only 7 of them can pass a top secret SCI TKQ clearance. Q is nuclear. Now we got to find more people. So we got to get another pool of 20. Now we got to run them through the same process. All right, now we got our pool. So now, whoever's handling the grand jury, federal prosecutor, special counsel, now we have to paint them a picture. We have to show them everybody that was involved. We have to be able to prove how they were involved, how we come about getting this information. They may not go into the sources and method portion of the show. They have to prove it. They can say, well, we got this telecommunications. This is when we got it. This is when we got it. We can't tell you how we got it, equipment-wise. But this is how we got it. And now we're going to show it to you. They go through the whole process of doing this. And then they wait to see if the GJ, the grand jury, comes back with a true bill on those indictments. Could take hours, could take days, could take weeks. So hypothetically now, let's say the grand jury comes back with a true bill. Pick them all up. Now you got to find these fucking people. So now you need assets. Now you got to take assets from the U.S. Marshal Service, the FBI, Secret Service. And God forbid if it's global. Because if there's anybody globally, you may or may not notify the host nation. So now you got to get special forces, snatch and grab teams ready. This is where we think he's at. So now we have to get floor plans for the building that we think they're in. Now we're going to go out into the fucking desert in Nevada and we're going to build a mock-up. And we're going to run through this drill, through this drill, through this drill, through this drill, till we can do this shit blindfolded. And they get through that process. And then they get the president to sign off on it. We're ready, sir. General Kane, make it happen. They send in a team. Oh shit, they're not there. Or oh shit, they're there. Snatch and grab. Now you got to bring them in front of the grand jury. Like I said, if that's the route they're going. Now you got to present your case to the grand jury. It all takes time. And I don't believe they knew how deep and how wide, how many tentacles. There is a reason why we're hearing the words like RICO all the time out of DOJ. There is a reason why we are hearing all these quote-unquote rumors of individuals trying to buy homes overseas. Rumors why congressional members are moving. You know, and honestly, I think there's a huge reason why so many Democrats and some Republicans got basted in these midterms or the primaries. I don't think they had the money. I think their money's been seized. All these groups that we've heard Doge going in, USAID, all of this. I think their money's been dried up. They don't have the money to buy influence, to pay people off. According to the media, people hate Donald Trump. According to the media, Trump's a dictator. According to the media, Donald Trump wants to be king. No kings. But yet, when the King of England comes to our house, they're all damn near trying to give him a blowjob. But no kings. This doesn't make sense. So, they're, at the end of the day, oh, we still got more to cover. At the end of the day, there's too much circumstantial shit going on for nothing to be going on. And look at when Trump comes into the White House. Outlandish, I'm glad you brought that up. You notice how the news media is starting to talk about how so much of our debt is fraud, right? I just wonder. Hold on one second. Let me take care of her, grab a beverage, because now I'm starting to go dry from talking so damn much. So, let me think where I was at. The debt, fraud. Why has the news media? All right, let's look at the news media. Whether you like them or not, they have some smart individuals. They have some very good researchers, right? They have very creative people that are able to make up very creative stories. Why is it that some dumbass that's an Ohio native that's probably in the low 7th percentile of intelligence in that state, able to locate and realize that in late 2017, early 2018, a person files the Corporation of the United States of America into bankruptcy. In Tallahassee Federal Court. Federal Bankruptcy Court. Files the country bankrupt. And it goes through the process. First, when I talked about this, I was told I was a fucking grifter, I was a loon, bullshit, it don't exist. And then on one of the shows, I showed the damn document that was publicly accessible and publicly available that lined out the bankruptcy. Do you guys remember on the 2016 campaign where Hillary Clinton talked about how Donald Trump was a scam artist? How Donald Trump used all those tax advantages? How Donald Trump declared bankruptcy so many times and he defrauded the workers and employees of money? Remember that? So Donald Trump has a lot of experience in bankruptcies, allegedly. I'm sure he does. He went to the Wharton School of Finance, one of the best financial schools in the world. So maybe he knows a little bit about bankruptcy. So they file it in a favorable court. Nobody in the media. Don't think anyone's ever done a record search. Just in a regular bankruptcy. In Tallahassee. And stumbled because it's publicly available. You can look at it through CGIS. It's there. Not one question has ever been posed to the President of the United States during his first or second term. Hey, Mr. President, what is this corporation in the United States of America? Why was that filed in a Tallahassee federal bankruptcy court? Not one person's ever asked him as the press secretary. Okay? So now you have that. And then I started hearing through the rumor mill, internet lore, that there was a major wire transfer from the HSBC Bank of Hong Kong to the Department of Treasury. In a retarded number, like I have the document stored somewhere, of like 31 or 32 trillion dollars. Wired HSBC Bank of Hong Kong from the Fang family. And so I got a copy of this document, sent it to somebody. They ran it through. I know how they run it, but I'm not going to. They tracked it down. Yep. It's not fake. It's there. It happened. Okay. So it happened. How in the flying hell would we explain this? Right? One of two ways. Now, first, if you guys remember when the big C-19 hit, President of the United States come out and told the American people that whoever did this is going to pay a price. Everybody thought we were going to be blowing the shit out of somebody. I did. I was like, oh my God. They are going to unleash holy hell on somebody. And at that time, we kind of figured who, but where are all the strings attached and all that. Maybe the price wasn't war. Maybe the price was in a monetary value. Possibly sent from HSBC Bank of Hong Kong to the U.S. Treasury in some outrageous number that has a whole shitload of zeros. So now we got to find a way, if we don't want to expose this, to put it publicly out there. We can call people that come up with this theory loons. How do we explain getting rid of our national debt? We have to have some damn good story to be able to write this off. So, we know there's fraud. A lot of fraud. I want you guys to just stop and think. Just in your area, in your town, how much money does the federal government collect in federal taxes? Okay? Think about every time you personally go to the gas station and you fill up your gas tank. Now, multiply that by your neighborhood. Multiply that by your city. Multiply that by your state. Multiply that by the whole nation. Per minute. The federal government collects a vast amount of taxes. Just at that. That's not even going into the amount of federal taxes that come out of your paycheck. Just at your company, think about how much every week or how much every 2 weeks comes out of your check. You as one person. Now, multiply that by how many people are at the organization you work with. Now, multiply that by your city. Multiply that by your state. Multiply that by your nation. That's an ass ton of money. Now, have we been lied to how much money Treasury brings in? Or the IRS? However you want to phrase it. I would say yeah. And these politicians and outside people have been skimming that money. And all you have to do is go back and listen whether you agree with Trump or not. I don't agree with Trump on anything. Or on everything. But there is not one instance that I know of, and if somebody knows one, bring it up, where Donald Trump has said something and has been proven to be an outright lie. Now, once his term is done and he exits stage left, then we can talk. But look, he said Russia was a hoax. Holy shit. It was a hoax. E. Jean Carroll. Oops. Hoax. Secret Service gate, where he tried to grab the steering wheel of the Secret Service agent. Hoax. Crossfire Hurricane. They're spying on my campaign. That's a hoax. So we have to come up with a story. How in the hell do we get rid of this debt without exposing the Fang family? Without exposing national security? Well, what if we come up with a very believable story? Such a story is so believable that it makes a whole lot of fucking sense. And even though there's some truth to this story, we can make it look really good. And we can be able not only to make this look and sound really good, but we can also expose a lot of motherfuckers. We can expose a lot of people that have reaped the benefits of every American. Because you remember in that speech, when Trump first was sworn in, there's a group of people that have benefited and reaped the rewards while the rest of us suffered. Something I'm paraphrasing. And he said, no longer. He didn't say no longer after I end this speech. He said it wasn't going to be any longer. And I believe him. So, we are going to expose all this fraud. Because the American people have been lied to how much money is brought into the coffers. How big our bank account is. Because they've been lied to by politicians. And we want to keep this a secret. But we got this fucking guy that's coming in that doesn't want to play along. He's already a billionaire. Hell, he's bought half our campaigns. We're probably not going to be able to buy this guy off. We may have to try to take him. Because if he exposes this shit, we're all done. And when I say he, I don't mean him as an individual. I mean he is what he represents. Commander-in-Chief of the United States. Because trust me, I believe there is more good in our U.S. military than there is bad. I believe that when these guys have raised their right hand and sworn an oath, they swore it to keep it. And they take that shit very serious. Because a lot of these guys who've done it have watched their buddies to the left and to the right die for that piece of paper. They take that shit serious. And I think that group of people now, and probably already had a way of explaining this debt. That's why you keep hearing Trump say, this is my, and like I said, this is all my opinion. To me, this makes sense. If what we believe is going to happen. So now, the planners, Mr. President, we need you to get out there and start putting this out there. We have so much money coming into Treasury. Tariffs. All this. He's even come out and said we're going to be able to pay the fucking debt off. That's how much money we got coming in. Why would you make a statement like that? Of course, people say, well, you made a statement about everybody getting a $2,000 check. He did. He didn't say when, though. As far as I know. He said, Hillary Clinton, oh yeah, you'd be in jail. He didn't say when. He said you're going to be in jail. But yet, have somebody telling Trump, get out there, this is our best course of action. Go out there and say how much fucking money's coming in from tariffs. Because we're going to have to explain how this debt's paid off. And the Fang family doesn't want us throwing their name out there. That might fuck up their social credit score inside of China. So we're going to show it like this. Even though there is fraud, we're going to show a lot of fraud. And here's the other thing. Remember that executive order that everybody in this fucking place knows probably by heart? 13848. Seizing of assets. Attempted coup of the United States. Why in the hell would you write that executive order? You don't write executive orders just because you got an extra fucking 15 minutes in your day. You write it because somebody is suggesting this to you. We need to start putting together legal framework to do this kind of stuff. Whether it's Justice, White House Legal Counsel, Office of Inspector General, whoever. You have to start creating legal framework. You have to start putting breadcrumbs in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. Because remember, Trump said we have to do everything constitutionally. Let it run its course. And if the legislative course doesn't work, then as commander-in-chief, there's only one option. The Insurrection Act. And if we don't want to expose the fact that we had to use the Insurrection Act, then maybe we start coming up with executive orders based on national security. Because, I don't know, maybe a SAVE Act isn't going to pass. Maybe not even go to a vote. But it's going to allow for cover for this. For what I believe is coming. There's a reason why the Department of War created rapid reaction forces. We're about ready to go into riot season. If you think that somebody is upset, got blackpilled or whatever, Just wait till they start putting shit out that you've been fucking lied to. You haven't seen nothing. There's a phrase in that letter in the alphabet that says they won't be able to walk down the street. You can't walk down the... It's starting to get to that point. You start seeing people not showing their... Look, whether you like her or not, didn't Marjorie Taylor Greene just buy a house in Costa Rica or somewhere? Why? Why? Why are you leaving? Are you worried? Why would you be worried? Shouldn't have nothing to worry about. You're a patriot, right? Tea Party, the whole 9 yards. Why are you running? No extradition. Doesn't stop the U.S. military, does it? Doesn't stop a snatch and grab team going into a country and nabbing you if they need to. You know, no one's really talked about this for a very, very long time. I wonder if some of this isn't coming from McAfee's dead man switch. You know, I believe some of these individuals who have stepped down from Congress, both sides of the aisle, why would you step down? You got it made. You're getting all kinds of money. All kinds of money. You got lobbyists paying you money, buying you dinners, paying your leases on your vehicles, paying your leases on your homes, on your apartments. You can't do all that shit on a congressional member's salary. Why are you leaving? Because now you're starting to hear some Democrats saying, oh shit, maybe Trump stole the election in 2016. Oh wait, maybe he did it in 2024. Well, that can't be, because CISA said this is the most secure and safe election ever known to man. So, if they are rigged, if there is outside influence and internal co-conspirators, why would these people leave? Maybe, and I'm just spitballing, maybe that's part of the deal. This is what we caught you at. George Bush did the greatest favor to this nation he ever could have done. Is when he had Wu draft the FISA. Go to a FISA judge and say, we're investigating an attempted coup of the United States government. We need you to authorize a shitload of wiretaps, a shitload of bouncing Bettys, and a shitload of Humpty Dumptys. We need to catch these fuckers. Because our country is being invaded by foreign and domestic powers. Thank you, George Bush. And I'm not so certain he won the Bush-Gore. That's how wide open I am to anything. Because I was a huge W supporter. But I also worked under Al Gore. And I told you guys what I thought of Bill Clinton. I liked him. I think he was a good guy that had good intentions that got blackmailed. And these congressional members, I think it was part of a deal. You're leaving. We're going to take your assets that you illegally got. Right now, we can't prove or disprove that you stole an election or it was rigged for you to win, and unbeknownst to you. And because we can't prove that fact beyond a reasonable doubt, we're going to allow you to keep your pension. And some of your benefits. But in order for you to do that, you got to say you're not running again and you're stepping down. If you don't do that, then roll the dice. And pray to God we don't have you on a FISA warrant. Because if you don't do that, you're going to get charged under treason and sedition. And to prove to you how serious we are, here's this nice little piece of paper that was signed by the President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces, authorizing the use of a firing squad that will be televised. So all the citizens that you defrauded, corrupt, they all get to see you pay for your crime. We're going to leave you alone with your legal counsel for about 15, 20 minutes. When we come in, we want an answer. All these people that just got primaried, why are they losing? It doesn't make any damn sense. The media is telling you Donald Trump's a dictator. Donald Trump is a king. Donald Trump isn't going to leave office in 2028. 67% of the country says this, according to the media. Why and how are these people getting primaried then? Remember Nancy Pelosi saying, we know what's best for you. You don't know what's best for you. It must be true because it's worked, right? You have people that have been in office 40, 50 years. How are they not staying in power? How? Maybe you're not able to pay off people. Or maybe you never really won in the first place. Maybe it's been rigged so damn long from foreign and domestic powers. So here's the deal. Remember, I've been saying some of these politicians are making the dumbest fucking comments that make no... Why? It's only one or two things. Either you are so arrogant, nothing's going to happen to me. Remember when Donald Trump went out there and said, I could go down and shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and I wouldn't lose a vote. Maybe they're that kind of cocky. Or, remember that day that Nancy Drew was down in D.C. filming? And we seen the U.S. military walk into the U.S. Supreme Court on film. And I even went on a show and I said, there is zero, nada, not one reason, not one situation that I can think of that the U.S. Military Judge Advocate General Corps, I mean, it was sedans and buses. That went to the U.S. Supreme Court. Right next to Congress. And it was just dumb luck that she caught it. It's not like she was there waiting on it. The only reason that I can believe and comprehend that the reason why the U.S. military would go into the Supreme Court is if they are notifying the justices They have a constitutional obligation to the American people that when the country has been attacked by foreign or domestic powers, we have a responsibility to act. We are now informing you that we are acting. This isn't up for debate. This isn't up for an opinion. This is what we are constitutionally obligated to do. Period. Full stop. That's the only reason I believe that a JAG attorney would be inside the U.S. Supreme Court. The only reason. And then you have J6. And I told you guys firsthand. I was told this point blank after the Gateway Pundit article hit. J6 was a complete operation by the U.S. Secret Service and the U.S. military. And I was told that that person had his ass in a chair in the ops center, watching the whole thing go down, watching these guys, or listening to these guys report to the scene commander of the U.S. Secret Service. Beyond a reasonable doubt. This guy's above reproach. And he said, I had my ass in a chair. And I said, well, why in the hell did you keep asking me if I was taking my psycho meds when I was... He goes, you knew I couldn't tell you. Yeah? Well, you didn't have to tell me I was a nut job. Why? See, there's too many anomalies. To throw the baby out for the bathwater. And we've seen the just absolute destruction of Tier 1 of Congress with this last primary. I mean, just look at what's going on in LA right now. How is this possible? How is it possible that a Republican is going possibly could win LA? How? Could they have done this 8 years ago? I don't think so. I don't believe so. But now more and more people are getting pissed off. Different levels of being pissed off. And we still haven't seen the glass being broke yet. And I'm not talking about a glass ceiling. I'm talking about, in case of an emergency, break the glass. And I believe that's coming. And what I'm referring to is the post that Donald Trump put on, I think it was put on True Social, but then sent over to X, where General Michael Flynn was put into the glass box. He had Trump standing there with a hammer. And there was a sign that says, break in case of an emergency. You know, I believe there's a specific reason why Tulsi Gabbard's leaving. Yes, some of it's probably personal. I think, people come and go in administrations all the time. But, and this is just my opinion, I think she is being removed to avoid a conflict of interest. So you can testify. Maybe in front of the U.S. military. I don't know. And you know, I don't know if this is true or not. I haven't really researched it that much because I'm not sure what a necessary part of it is. But I'd like to see the number of people that are serving in this administration that served in the military that were officers that haven't resigned their commission. And how that's going to play an effect, if it plays an effect. I don't know if it does. But I do believe there is some meaning behind it. But one thing I can say, and I hope I don't offend anybody by this, because this is honestly what I believe. I'm not a hardcore Bible thumping person by any stretch of the imagination. I believe in God. I believe He died for our sins. And we are children of God. If that is the case, I don't worry. That's why when I do these type of things, you don't hear me get stressed out. Number one, there's nothing I can do. Me as an individual, there's not a damn thing I can do. But if He is true, then He's not going to let me suffer. Yeah, there's going to be some trials and tribulations. Yeah, there's going to be issues. I don't have nothing to worry about. Do I think our country's going to collapse? No. Are we going to have some trials and tribulations? We're in it. Do I honestly believe there's going to be famine? No. You mean to tell me that if any of this is true, these great military planners, this great team has come up with this elaborate plan that they forgot about food, water, and energy? That doesn't make any damn sense to me. Oops, we better go back to the drawing board. You better go back to the drawing board because we forgot about that one. You remember when I discussed, it's been a few years ago, how Walmart is subsidized by the Department of Defense, at that time now Department of War, to where the Department of War can come in and commandeer a Walmart. And we thought that was going to happen 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And now all of a sudden you have the Department of War coming up with rapid reaction forces for every state. Walmart could house a lot of troops. You could push all those racks back. Because if you go into a Walmart, look at the racks. They're on wheels. A lot of wheels. Sounds like, remember the camps, the FEMA camps everybody was running about? Got to have somewhere to house all these illegals for processing. I mean, you have to. The big fear about all the IRS agents, they're coming for our fucking property. Remember that? The big uproar. They're coming for our shit. You have to have human eyes to look at those documents that Doge produces on fraud. Because you don't hear any more about those IRS agents. News media is not out there fucking scaring people. At the end of the day, look at it like this. Trump was in there for 4 years. And he got the shit kicked out of him. Then he took 4 years off because he lost. But yet he was committing high crimes and misdemeanors by meeting with foreign leaders at his personal residence in Mar-a-Lago. Viktor Orban. All kinds of people flying in and out of Mar-a-Lago. Violates the Hatch Act. I believe that's the one, the Hatch Act. He can't negotiate on behalf of the American people. You're not in power. You're a private citizen. You can't make deals. Be like me calling up Vladimir Putin. Привет, друга. Как дела? Spetsoperenicka. I can't do that. First of all, probably say, what the fuck, Chuck? Why didn't Congress ever bring this up? Why was the Speaker of the House down there talking to Trump? So Trump had 4 years to think, man, should I run for president again? Look how many unknown, unpublicized assassination attempts, death threats that were put on me. Okay, maybe I don't give a shit about myself. But my damn kids, my grandkids, shit, they just wanted to off Ivanka. I got 2 or 3 fatwas on me now. Why would I run again? It's dumb. Right? I'll go in there for another 4 years. Same shit. And then, God forbid, I lose the midterms. The House and the Senate become Democratic because everybody hates me. I'm a king, I'm a dictator, I'm this, I'm that. There's no way I can win. Next 2 years, I'm going to be impeached so many damn times. Stalemate. Then what? After my 4 years, I walk out the door and holy shit, a Democrat wins the White House. All that for nothing. I survived 3 known attempts on my life in my second term. I got every jihadist looking for me so they can collect the bounty. They got the floor plans to my daughter's house. But in 4 years, I'm gone. Democrats win. Everything that we did, whether you agree with it or don't, is now, with a stroke of a pen, getting reversed. And don't think for 1 second that retaliation won't be best served cold. Oh my God. This is why I believe, just my belief, and I may have to come on here 2, 3 years and eat these words. This is why I believe we are on a fast track course for a constitutional crisis. Something dramatic has to happen between now and the day Trump officially leaves office. Something catastrophic. If not, foreign and domestic powers are just sitting back, running the clock down. And if you think people are melting down now because their vision set is not showing them that people are being put in handcuffs and people are getting ready to be put on trial, or you're not seeing some fucking list that even if you were given the list, you wouldn't know what the hell to do with it, just so it would satisfy your curiosity. If a constitutional crisis that I believe is in the works doesn't happen, then we can pull the oh shit handle. Until then, I'm not worried. Because I believe there are greater people in positions that have the country's best interest and our best interest at play. All right, guys. Until probably a few hours, let you guys let all this sink in. Hopefully I did some justice for what people wanted to hear. Until then, we'll see ya.